Let's draw our big bad internet. And let's draw our trusted network. Okay? And then we have our firewall. Now here's the ways people get around things. Number one is, if we have a client in here, okay, remember we want to keep people off of our nice servers. There's our lovely customers. I don't have a red pen anymore. So here's a bad guy. Okay. Now remember, we've talked about this. If we can get someone on the inside from getting infected, so they might go to a hacked server. I just posted something on Facebook today. There's a current exploit for Microsoft Internet Explorer, starting with version 6. So pretty much any version of Explorer, there's not a patch out there. So if you hit a bad web server, we'll put our eek right here. If you hit a bad web server, your computer is owned. So there you go. So if they get owned, they can just go into the internal server. Okay? So that's a nice way for people to get around the back. And that's the normal way people do it. Okay? Yes. Yeah. Once you're owned on the inside, you're a zombie. Okay. So hack. Number one is own an internal host. Okay. All right, next up. So we have a remote user, let's say, and they need to be able to get to this server. Well, what I would do then is make a VPN. I'll just do it in black. We do what's called a VPN tunnel. Okay? And we'll go to some endpoint inside, and that will allow us to get to this server. Okay? You guys know Heartbleed, right? So one of the ways people have been hacking just recently is the VPN is usually something installed on the firewall, I'm sorry, fireplace, that's cute. And that uses OpenSSL, and so people were getting, if not the actual key that was used to log in, they would get the key of an actual remote user, and then they could fake that key and get in that way. Okay? So a VPN tunnel is a way to secure your access. It's not really a hack. Let's go internal access. Okay. So those are basically the main two ways of getting in. So we want to own an internal host, or we can use a VPN tunnel. Now, in terms of masking an IP address, this is where it gets a little dicey. Now, in our list, we will have, for example, we can have source IP address, destination IP address. I didn't get that complicated, sorry. You can mask it to where you would only allow certain IP addresses in. So let's say, for example, you remember my baby monitor thing? So I have my baby monitor. I don't know, I can't draw a baby monitor very well. Blah, blah, blah. Oops, and there's the baby crying. Okay, oops, it goes that way into the baby monitor. Okay. So remember, I want to prevent people from getting into my baby monitor. So what I might do is in my firewall, I might say only a certain range out here is allowed in to there. And it's the same rule applies. Okay. Someone needs to, though, get into this network. And we'll talk about ways of getting into there, too, in order to get inside. This isn't a normal thing that's going to mess you up. Normally, if someone's on the internet, you just have them use a firewall to get in. Or a VPN, I'm sorry. The VPN lets you get through the firewall. Okay. The other thing we are a little concerned about is people getting out, remember? Just as an example, remember our YouTube blocking? So we want to be able to block people, let's say, from getting here. They can do the VPN the same way. So they can have a VPN over here. I'll just put a box on it. So they can take their computer and they can connect to a VPN, and then using the VPN, they can go around our block. Because our firewall will think they're just connecting to that IP address, when in reality their traffic is being relayed around. Can y'all see that, hopefully? So, that is the smelliest thing. I'm gonna pass out. It's killing brain cells. When I was in China, they blocked Facebook. But the way I could get around it is I could connect from inside China to ODU's VPN, and then from ODU connect to Facebook. Don't tell the Chinese government I did that, or they'll deny my visa next time I want to go in, right? I was doing that, I did it for a little while when I was in Germany. I did it a couple times. In Germany, if I needed, there's stuff that they won't allow you to get in certain countries, and so if I wanted to see a certain TV show or something, or YouTube videos, I could go to ODU, see it through ODU's VPN, and then that would let me watch it. Isn't that fun? So VPNs also work the other way. Okay, so remember, and it just comes down to what I was saying here about your access control list. It only works. Firewalls aren't that smart. They only go on IP addresses, port numbers, interfaces, and I didn't show you the protocol, but that doesn't really matter. Okay, so those are the three things they can do, and if, as long as you come up with rules that apply to those, the firewall will help against that. But if someone's really determined, there's sort of ways around a firewall. If this gets owned, right, this would make an external connection to the bad guy. And so that would be allowed, because we allow those kind of things. They would make the connection, and then they would still talk to the bad guy, and then they could do their naughty stuff on our internal server. Okay. So in terms of like spoofing an IP address, you can spoof a packet and it might be able to get in, but usually the response doesn't go anywhere because it's spoofed. The source IP address is wrong, and so when you do the reply, the response just won't go back. So a spoofed packet is bad if they can get one packet to do something really nasty to you. Does that make sense? So if I had a whole, where was it? You guys remember the worm thing, right? Or if you have a worm, oops, it's right here. If you have a worm that can get on, some port inside, and they can spoof our packet and get in, they only get one packet, though, to attack. So that's kind of the deal with firewalls.